Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So if you didn't know, I am posting 2 videos this week. The last one that I just did was on Monday, and it was for my book review of Incomparable by Nikki and Brie Bella, otherwise known as the Bella Twins. So I really hope you guys enjoyed that video if you saw it. If not, go ahead and give it a view. It is really awesome. I love doing that review, and it was something I couldn't wait to do. My second video is going to be about a reading challenge that I will be participating in June. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about that and what the reading challenge is. So let's get started. The challenge I'm going to be participating in next month is going to be called the Read Your Sign Challenge. It is on Litsy right now, and it is being hosted by 2 Litsy users that I follow and who I believe follow me as well. They are Cassandra and Ray. The original post is going to be on Cassandra's Litsy. I know she did the link for the form as well as the things that are going to go on with that challenge. I'm really excited. It's my first book challenge that I'm doing, and I set the bar a little bit too high, but I'm all about just having fun, and even if I don't get to these books, you know what, at least I tried, and I really wanted to complete the challenges. With the Read Your Sign Challenge, it is pretty much going to be your horoscope sign that you use, and mine is a Sagittarius, so I'm doing the Sagittarius prompts. I believe there's like 15 prompts per sign. Unfortunately for me, I am going to be skipping a few of them just because with the books that I have on my shelf, they just weren't possible to fit in, no matter if I looked at description or the title or the cover, which really bummed me out. But you know what? We're going to do it. I really wanted to stay away from buying books, so that's why I'm not completing challenges that I don't have books for, because I just don't want to spend money on books that I need to do just because of a challenge. I'm hoping I get to read a lot, so that's the main thing of this, is that I want to try to read more, especially with the books that I have. A lot of these are very varied in genre and topics, so I'm really excited about that as well too. So it kind of mixes up my reading. It's all not the same. Let's go into the challenges that they have available for me being a Sagittarius. First challenge on my list is going to be read a book that was published between 11/22 and 12/21. So any book that is published in that time frame, it doesn't have to be a year. There was a lot of choices that I could have had for this one, and I decided to pick this book up. It's one of the older books that I have on my TBR shelf. Something that I normally don't read that much, I really want to read more of. That book is going to be Diamond Boy by Michael Williams. This story follows a 15-year-old named Patson Moyo. He works in a diamond field kind of more towards South Africa, and he is trying to find this very rare stone. I believe it is called a Girazi. That's what it's called. I'm looking at my notes real quick, but it's called a Girazi, and it's pretty much a priceless stone that could change the future for someone that works in these diamond mines. Unfortunately, some officials come down to the diamond mine and it changes his life forever. I've read a lot of stuff that's taken place in Africa before, so I'm really excited to get to this one. And it also says it takes place during Zimbabwe's brutal recent history. This is something I didn't know was going on. Maybe after I read this, I might have to look up some information. I'm very intrigued, so we'll see how it goes for this one. The next one that I have on my list is a book published in the year that you were born. So I was born in 1993. There are a lot of choices for me, I would say, with 1993 books, but one of the ones that I definitely went with was a Jodi Picoult novel. I love Jodi Picoult. She's one of my favorite writers. I've read several of her books. They have all left me reeling. She can wreck your feelings sometimes, but that's a good thing for me. I like when my feelings get wrecked. The book that I picked is one that I haven't read yet by her. It is called Harvesting the Heart. This one was published in 1993. This one's also something I've never read about. I've read a lot of books that had the mother topic and what does it mean to be a mother. So it follows a character named Paige who has had a very rough history with her mother. Her mother left her when she was very young. So she set out to get all these different plans and had all these different dreams. She planned to go to art school. She decided to marry a rich doctor, and she ends up having a baby herself. During this process of becoming a mother, she kind of has anxiousness that it's going to be the same with what happened to her mother with her, and it just kind of overwhelms her. I really think it's going to be a good book about mental health and postpartum. Jodi Picoult is definitely a good writer for me that I really love. I know I'm going to enjoy this. Hopefully that's the case. We're going to keep fingers crossed. My next challenge is to read a book with your zodiac symbol And I unfortunately do not have any books that are with my zodiac symbols. So that's one that I am skipping. But the next one I have. The next challenge is read a book with your element in the title, cover, or mentioned throughout the book. So as a Sagittarius, my sign is a fire sign. I went with After the Fire by Will Hill. This is a book that my boyfriend got me for Christmas, and it is actually a signed copy, I believe. Yes, it's a signed copy, so that was something I wasn't expecting. Thank you, Zachary. I love you for all that you do, and the fact you get me the books that I want is really awesome, even though you're not a big reader. From what I gathered from the summary of this, it seems that it takes place in a cult with a girl that has pretty much grown up with this cult all her life, and she's trying to escape it, and I guess there's a fire that happens that changes everything for her. Really intrigued. This is one that's been sitting on my shelf for a little bit too. I just haven't gotten in the mood to read it, but definitely with this reading challenge going on right now, this is one that I want to get to, and I just want to devour because I love these kinds of stories. Kind of sounds similar to Natasha Preston books, which most of you know I love Natasha Preston. I'm really excited to get into this one and see if it's kind of similar to that or in the same vein with how her writing is. The next challenge is another one I'm going to be skipping. It is having my ruling planet in the title, cover, or mentioned throughout the story. It is Jupiter for Sagittarius, but I do not have anything with Jupiter on it. The next challenge on my list is read a book with your zodiac flower in the title, cover, or mentioned throughout. For Sagittarius, we have two. We have crocuses, and I believe carnations is the other one. There was a book in my pile that I've been wanting to get to as well by Anna Todd, as you can see, the After series. She is the big writer of that series, and it is one of my favorite romance series ever. They hook you in from the first page and you just want to read more. This is called The Spring Girls. As you can see, there's big carnations on it. And this is going to be, I think, a modern day retelling of Little Women, which if you're not familiar with the premise of Little Women is, it is pretty much following these four sisters throughout their life. I haven't read the book either, but I pretty much know the premise. I've seen a few movies when I was younger. So this one I'm really excited to get into, and then I'm hoping after this I can get into the whole Little Women series. I'm trying to make sure I get all the books so I can read that in my classic sides. I know Anna's probably going to do a good job with this. I'm just really excited to get to it, and it's perfect. Like I said, carnation on the cover, so it works for the challenge. The next challenge that is on my list is to read a book with your zodiac gem in it. It can be mentioned in the title, the cover, or just throughout the whole book. For Sagittarius is topaz, and topaz kind of comes in a lot of different colors. I had to look it up and see. One of them is clear. So I actually chose a book that had a white cover because white is kind of similar to clear. This book has white throughout it, and I think it presents a theme that's happening in our social media culture right now. The book that I chose for this is called How to Disappear by Sharon Huss Wrote. It's supposed to be like an Instagram photo, and it says the only way to be seen is to hide who I really am. But let me tell you a little bit about this book. This book follows a girl named Vicky who has a best friend. It's pretty much the only friend that she ever had, and she's always never fit in with anybody. She kind of feels like she's the odd girl out. Her best friend Jenna ends up moving away, and she ends up trying to cope with that. She ends up creating this persona called Curious, who is on the cover right there. She pretty much photoshops herself into different situations where it looks like she's this big influencer. Of course, I think this is also a signed copy. I got this in a book club box, so I haven't gotten to read it yet. I kind of just put all the little goodies in the book so I can do it while I'm reading. The next challenge is to read your spirit color, and it can be one that's in the title or the cover. Mine is light blue. It definitely describes why my favorite color is purple. Did I say purple? My favorite color is blue, not purple. What was I thinking? The book that I picked up for this is called Goldfish, and it is by Nat Litsy. I am Lou Braun, social outcast, precocious failure, 5'10", and still growing. I was on the fast track to Olympic superstardom. Now I'm training boys too cool to talk to me, in a sport I just made up in a fish tank. My life has quickly become very weird. It seems like it's a really good story about fitting in and kind of just trying to break the mold, I would say. Just the cover's gorgeous. Like, look at that. And then it's like the little group of fishies and the one little fish is swimming away. This is another one that I got from a book club. So I'm really excited to get started on that and see if it's something that I turned out to love. This next challenge is going to be one that I'm probably going to read last. And this one is to read a book that features a character that is adventurous, creative, and strong-willed. One of the genres that I don't really typically get into that much, and I want to, is fantasy. And I have a lot of fantasy books that I get. I actually like the premises that they have, and I'm really excited to get to this one because it's actually a duology. The first book is Even the Darkest Stars, and the second one is All the Wandering Light. Both of them are by Heather Fawcett. This is actually an interesting story that I really am intrigued to get to, and it seems like it's like an action adventure flick that it's going to read in my head. This follows a girl named Tasman. She's always wanted to be an explorer adventurer for their emperor that they have in their kingdom. The city that she lives in, they all think that her sister is going to be the one that gets to compete for this dream. But it turns out one of the biggest explorers that is very popular in this town that she lives in chooses her to be the actual explorer. Her sister ends up kind of being burned from this, and she ends up going with a rival explorer. Kind of one of the stories that it's like, who does she choose? Does she choose her sister or does she choose her dream? I'm not going to read the back for this one because I don't want to spoil myself, but definitely this is going to be one I think I read lastly just because it's a duology. It looks so cool. The cover is just so pretty. Like, look at that. I feel like this is on a lot of TBR piles for people or people that have read it and I would say loved it. Hey, y'all. Okay, the next one is typically Sagittariuses are early birds. That's pretty false. I like my sleepies and I like to sleep in and take naps. So I might be the 1% of Sagittariuses that are not. So the challenge is to read at least 75% of a book between the hours of 5 a.m. and 10 a.m. I'm not excited about it in the most, but you know what? I'm gonna do it. I pretty much have it where it's going to be later on in the morning when I get to it. So we'll see how that goes. I think it's going to be one of the first ones that I do because I picked an easy book that I can read during that time frame in like 2-3 hours. So that's what I'm hoping it'll take for me, and I can finish a lot of the book within that time. An easy book too. It's a pocket book that they used to sell like in the grocery stores. So it's called Vampire's Kiss by Nicholas Adams. Just something little cheesy and cute, but I like my cheesy and cute books. It's one of those books I would say that probably every teen was reading because they didn't have a YA section. This was pretty much the YA that they would get. I've read a lot of these in my days and some of them are actually pretty good. So I really hope this is a good one. I hope this is one I'm not gonna hate, because if it is one I'm gonna hate, it's just gonna be really sad. What's this story about? Will her first kiss be the kiss of death? Ooh, that's very intriguing. Finally, Susan is in love. Drew is tall, handsome, and hiding something. Ooh. Shortly after he arrives, things start to happen in the small town where Susan lives. Weird things. Scary things. First, a girl is found dead on the beach near Susan's house. Then another girl turns up completely drained of blood. Drew seems to know a lot more about the murders. But does he even know more than he's telling? With each death, Susan grows closer to a horrifying conclusion. Could she be in love with a vampire? Ooh. So this next challenge is another one that is probably going to make me the 1% that does not have this. But for Sagittarius, the love match is Aries. My boyfriend is actually a Pisces. You want to read a book that fulfills one of the Aries prompts. And the one that I chose is pretty easy. I think it was like the first one that's on the list. I figured that was easy for me. And that is to read a book that was published during the Aries time frame. So that one is between 3/21 and 4/19. I chose Last Girl Lied To by L.E. Flynn, or Lori Elizabeth Flynn. Lori Elizabeth Flynn, I actually really enjoyed her writing. The first book that I ever read by her was called First, and it's such a good YA book. That's another book that I really suggest people read because it's so charming, and I feel like it has a lesson in and of itself in there. This book I've had for a while now too. This is another one that my boyfriend got for me for Christmas, and I was really excited about this. This was one when I found out it was coming out. I had to pick it up, and it's completely different from her last book. Her last book was more of kind of like a contemporary romance, more to say. This one I'm really intrigued to get into. It follows more of a murder mystery. Something made him angry that night. Something made her cry. Something made Trixie disappear. What if it was all the same thing? Contemplative, right? Fiona claims she doesn't remember anything about the night her best friend Trixie left a party early and walked into the ocean. But the truth is, she wishes she could forget. Trixie's disappearance is ruled a suicide, but Fiona starts to believe that Trixie isn't really dead. Piecing together the trail of a girl who doesn't want to be found leads her to Jasper, Trixie's former friends with benefits, and Beau, the boy who turned Fiona down, who loved someone else, who might be happy that Trixie is gone. The closer Fiona gets to finding out what happened, and the closer she gets to Jasper and Beau, the more she realizes that the girl she knew better than anyone may have been a carefully constructed lie, and she might have been waiting to disappear the entire time. If that doesn't hook you in, I don't know what is. So we are down to, I believe, the last 4 challenges on this list. So the next one for me is read a book that was written by a Sagittarius author. This was another one I had a lot of choices to go about, but I decided to go with one of my classics that were on my pile, so I'm really excited to get to this one. This is one that I've been intrigued with for a while now. I remember seeing previews for the movie when it was released, and I remember being fascinated with that, but then I found out it was a book, so I really kind of wanted to read the book first. I'm going to be reading Memoirs of a Geisha by Arthur Golden. His birthday is on December 6th, I believe. The premise, what I pick up, it's about this girl that goes through a world where pretty much looks are everything, and falling in love is an illusion. I know it's going to be a good love story. It seems like, from what I've seen on the summary and from what I've seen for like preview wise, it's going to be a really hard and difficult story, but you know what, sometimes those need to be told. I love this movie cover. It is so gorgeous. I actually had like an original cover of the book, but I actually decided to get rid of that one and go with this one just because it's so pretty. It kind of captures your attention more. The next one is read a book you thought was sophisticated. So this is another book that's been on my pile. It's another book that I want to read, written by African-American authors. This one is actually called X, and this is written by Malcolm X's daughter, Ilyasah Shabazz. I hope I'm saying that right. I hope it's the right thing. And it's also with Kekla Magoon. It pretty much takes place when he's 15, where he's kind of entering this world before he enters history. I decided to choose it as being something sophisticated because it did win a honor for the Coretta Scott King Award, and then it also is written by Malcolm X's daughter, so I'm definitely very intrigued. I don't know that much about Malcolm X per se. It's not a part of history that I really got excited about or looked into, but I'm hoping this book is going to change my mind, and I'm hoping it is going to be sophisticated. I wanted to choose something that was more of like popular or maybe had an award, so this was one that definitely won out over all the ones that I have on my list. The next challenge is we all have a ruling number, and apparently mine is a number 9. So for my challenge, it was to read a 9th book in the series. I won't be completing this challenge because I don't have a book series where there's 9 books in it. Then the last one is read a book with your ruling number in the title, the date, published, or total page count. I went back to my classics again, and I am reading something Edgar Allan Poe. Now that's another thing, if you know about me, Edgar Allan Poe is one of my favorite authors. I love him. He is, in my opinion, one of the grandfathers of horror writing, and pretty much where we got the common horror novel. His writing is just so intriguing, and his story is just so fascinating to me. The story that I'm going to be reading is called Hop Frog, and this is actually a illustrated like edition, I want to say. It's got these really cool like scriptures, and it's got different illustrations, and it's more in color. I think it's more supposed to be like a coffee table. So this is an illustration for, what story is this? The Murders in the Rue Morgue. So like it's just so pretty, and this one is actually 9 pages long in this book. So That's the reason why I chose it, and it just seems like it's going to be a very quick story. I don't remember ever reading this story. I know I remember reading The Red Mask, I think is what it was called. I've read The Fall of the House of Usher, The Raven, Annabelle Lee. Like, I've read a lot of his work, but I think this is one that I didn't get a chance to get to. I just love reading Poe. He just puts me in a good mood. But yeah, guys, that is all of the books that I'm going to be reading for the Read Your Sign Challenge. Now, if you want to participate in this, I'm going to have the Litsy handles linked in right here down in the bottom for you to go to. Litsy is a really awesome app. I think I love it more than Goodreads. If you want to know what Litsy is like, it's like Instagram for book lovers, pretty much. You can review books on there. You can put little blurbs and quotes on it. You can add it to a stack where you can read from your stack. And I love it. I interact with a lot of people on it. I'm trying to get into more interacting because I used to just post on there, save books, and then repost again when I had like 5 or 6 of them to talk about. But I'm trying to do it in a different way, trying to be more interactive on there. I'll have mine linked down below in the description when you go to look at the video and see what it's about. So all my info is down there below as well. If you want to participate, you want to go on to Cassandra's page. I think she has the form and everything. So you still have a few more days to turn that in, I think, and get your stack ready. Let me know if you guys are going to be doing this challenge as well. Let me know if you sign up for Litsy. Let me know how you love it if you do. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Stretch. 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 Gets a little... Ugh. Sometimes you just need to stretch it. Oh my goodness, I'm just going crazy over here. I don't know why.